Hello, and welcome to the Circuit Breakers interview series. I'm your host, Steve Semler, and today I'm joined by Christopher Emerson, who's the founder and CEO of White Oak Security and an advisor at Cyber Advisors. Christopher, thank you so much for joining us. Would you like to kick us off with a brief background as to who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. So thank you for the opportunity. As you kind of already referenced, I'm Christopher Emerson, founder and former CEO of White Oak Security. It's an offensive security professional services firm that was a wonderful journey for me to start way back in 2012, leading through starting a business, scaling it, and ultimately a successful acquisition by Cyber Advisors, an MSP here local to Minnesota. And a lot of my time now is spent, helping advise in that transition, making sure things go smoothly and successfully for all of us as a whole.
Cool. With IT security being increasingly important, and certainly over the last 10, 12 years, how did you get into this field and what led you to see the business opportunity in this area?
Sure. So what got me into cybersecurity initially, I came from a kind of a non-traditional background. Right out of high school, I actually went and was a professional ballet dancer, and ultimately found out that that wasn't the right long-term fit for me. Different kind of lifestyle expectations than were the reality. So once I've ended up finishing my time with the Minnesota Ballet based out of Duluth, Minnesota, and I kind of, as I was going through that career change, I knew one of the things that I had really wanted to get into was cybersecurity, specifically penetration testing. Back then, there were a couple of firms who were fairly prevalent, pretty popular for kind of a newer vertical, to be honest. Loft heavy industries and at stake. And I would read news articles about the things they were doing, where they were getting to hack into organizations. They were getting paid to hack into organizations, which quite honestly just sounds awesome and just like a ton of fun. So I knew that's kind of what I wanted to get into, but back at that point, there weren't a lot of the same opportunities that we have kind of nowadays with all the different certifications and even universities offering, bachelor's and master's degrees in cybersecurity. Even there are a few doctorates out there in the field. So I knew that's kind of what I wanted to get into, and I was very fortunate to have a department chair at the University of St. Thomas, where I ended up going back to college, who kind of saw the writing on the wall and knew that this could be a big thing, and he kind of helped guide me through that process. And after college, after getting the first job to pay student loans, I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity with a local CPA firm here in Minnesota who had an information security services group. And so I kind of kicked off my journey into cybersecurity itself. And as for kind of starting White Oak, when I look back at like the catalyst that led me to start White Oak, there were three main events that really kind of stand out. At one point, I had the opportunity. I was working as a contractor at a large retailer here locally, with some of those some former employees who had been at Stake, one of those initial firms I referenced that were just fantastic. This retailer was like, "Hey, we want you to come join in and actually take on a leadership position." I personally had noticed a trend where leaders often drifted away from their technical depth, and I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to become the leader who didn't understand the day-to-day of their team's work. I wanted to make sure I continued to understand their challenges and opportunities. So at that point, back in 2012, I had decided I was going to start White Oak Security as, quite honestly, a side hustle, to use a more common parlance now. And it seemed like the perfect solution to keep my technical skills sharp while also being able to step up into this leadership role. Several years down the road, there was another turning point where another large retailer liked the work that I had done and wanted me to come build out their security services team. It was I was pretty fortunate. It was a pretty awesome opportunity, turning what was effectively all outsourced offensive security testing into an internal proactive team. And then over time, kind of the larger organization evolved, and I was less integrated, less focused on my passions of offensive security, penetration testing, all those types of areas that were just they were that's what drew me to offensive or drew me to cybersecurity. So at that point, I was given the opportunity to basically decide to devote myself full time to White Oak Security, which allowed me to focus on the passions that I liked while not having some of the other ties that I needed to deal with. And then the last one, the critical thing that actually helped make White Oak more than just me, was it was one of those like wonderful convergences of the right people at the right place at the right time. There were a couple of my now partners were they're extremely talented and experienced in this industry already, and they were looking for a new challenge. They were coming from a firm that had undergone some pretty significant culture shifts after getting an infusion of investment capital. And so the three of us basically combined together to grow the organization to be one of the most respected professional service organizations in our field. And with the three of them, we were able to, I like to think, successfully create a place where talented professionals can thrive and push the boundaries of what's possible in cybersecurity.
Neat. Well, how did you end up growing the business and acquiring employees and getting more opportunities to do the offensive work?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're pretty fortunate. Of the two partners who I mentioned, they both, like I said, came from the industry and they both had sales backgrounds. So in my experience, some of the most successful people in sales are very relationship based, particularly in cybersecurity. Cybersecurity requires an extensive amount of trust to be built up. Because quite honestly, you're asking people to go in and be like, find what's vulnerable, find our issues, find our mistakes, help us understand that. And that can be tough to do. You're basically critiquing them. And so fortunately, both of those individuals had, some experience. They were well versed, well connected, and well respected in the community. So as we started to go out, we could see a lot of those people in the industry. I was also very fortunate through my background in the corporate environment to have made a lot of pretty outstanding connections with different leaders in our space, particularly within the Midwest region, who, while we were working together at one point, now they're running programs at other companies and they needed our services. So that really helped us to build the client base from finding the level of talented team members that we required for our business. Was a lot of it was personal networking. Again, coming up through the space, having been a practitioner, focusing on performing those types of tests, I had worked with a lot of the people who ended up coming on board. They knew what I stood for as a leader. They understood the vision of what we wanted to accomplish at White Oak, the type of culture, the type of services we wanted to offer, and how we wanted to do that. And I had that, going back to that inherent trust of, I've seen you perform these amazing technical feats before. I've seen the sophistication of your technical knowledge. And we were very fortunate to have those kind of all align.
Nice. So as you grew that out, what did you need to do to stay adaptable and open to change really as the leader of the business?
Yeah, I mean, cybersecurity, you're spot on, is constantly evolving and ever changing. I mean, whether you're looking at, every vendor pushing out new security patches or new features or functionalities which may or may not have security issues involved in them, coming out on weekly, monthly basis. I mean, people have it on their calendar. this is getting released. We know we have to do things in response to that. So for me, adaptability wasn't about just staying flexible. One person can't maintain all of that knowledge. So we really chose to leverage a collaborative environment where each of the team members here at White Oak feels empowered to ask questions, to contribute, learn, and give back, and make that almost cyclical within White Oak. We have a culture where collaboration is crucial. Our engagements, like a specific project or engagement, will often be assigned to a single team member. But as they find new vulnerabilities, technologies, or issues that they're just having a problem with, they're encouraged to loop in the rest of the team. We spin up chat rooms or video calls to walk through, bring everyone up to speed, who feels that they can contribute to the specific issue, and then they work the problem together. That allows them to leverage the collective knowledge of the entire group, and it accelerates problem solving. But then also it helps enhance each of the other participants' knowledge. We also do something similar, but at a more generic scale. Once a month we have, I call them lunch and learns. I don't think anyone else calls them that because it is kind of a lame title. But basically it's, we get everybody together on a video conference and we just kind of share, kind of refer to them like war stories of, hey, here are some cool things that I found. Here's a new technology I've been playing with and what I see. And it's just an opportunity for them to build that internal rapport, but also learn and grow their skills.
Yeah, and being able to have each person, draw on the expertise of everybody else. Meanwhile, the whole group is learning about what's going on in the different areas. Seems like a pretty key factor. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Plus the intent, like you're saying, the intentional, let's get together, once a month and bring in stuff that we should be aware of and fiddle with that. Yeah. Neat. So how has the journey gone to the point of coming together with cyber advisors or being part of the cyber advisors group?
It's been pretty great. I mean, so Cyber Advisors is a managed services provider, which is a space that we don't, as an organization, White Oak doesn't inherently, participate in, like directly. I mean, we're very, very focused. That's kind of one of the things that we use to set ourselves apart is we only do offensive security testing. And we were fortunate to, we were at a stage where we were kind of running through a number of different offers from different potential acquirers. And in talking to cyber advisors, we really felt that they kind of understood the culture. Shane, the CEO over there, was fantastic talking about how, their people are their most important asset there. And that's kind of how that is exactly how we feel here at White Oak. So we were pretty fortunate when they decided to come across and be like, hey, we want to add this as a service offering for our grow kind of what we have and increase the technical depth of that type of work. And yeah, we've been very, very, very fortunate so far. So it's been pretty fantastic.
Cool. And with all the tech talent and including you as a technical leader, I know a lot of
technical maybe, but
coming from that side of things. One of the things I run into with business leaders and technical execs is that there's so much about running the business that takes them away from the technology and the solutions piece that they might like. How do you handle the challenge of getting the stuff done while still staying enough in the technical expertise side of things to really feel comfortable with that?
Great question. So honestly, for me, it's really about prioritization and trusting the people that you work with when it comes to delegation. And so, I mean, I'm a father of four. We are busy shuttling kids from activity to activity in the evening, so that kind of consumes all of that. So I have to be very specific in how I go about my day. I'm personally an early riser. So I get up before my kids wake up, and I go through and take a look at my various roles as a leader and a parent and just a person. And, you know, and I try to incorporate those into one routine every single day. And so that means in that brief window when the kids are all asleep, when the house is pretty quiet, I'll spend time building my daily to-do list of integrating, professional tasks, whether that's, you know, client calls, team calls, or even kind of educational opportunities for myself. Taking a look at, like I said, calendaring my family responsibilities for the day, getting the kids to and from appointments, and also my own personal wellness activities. I'm a big believer in the philosophy that taking care of yourself enhances everything that I personally do. So for me, I know if I am able to take time to focus on my wellness, which for me largely is focused on fitness, that helps my physical and mental well-being. It boosts my focus, my creativity, and I'm much more productive throughout the day. And so that's something we actually encourage here at White Oak is for our team to adopt a similar approach to their lives. Our team members, they have families, they have other dependents, they have people that they need to take care of. And so we ask them to, hey, put your family and your personal health first, work second. That will sometimes mean that appointments with their kids and other families will take, will get shuffled around, but largely that's the focus, that's the priority. And so for my workday, like I said, I stream my schedule by batching all of the meetings that I can, and then batching my work tasks together or educational tasks. And that helps me maintain my focus and efficiency. I make sure when I get into, task and meeting mode, I switch off notifications to help maintain that focus for myself.
Yeah, that's something I hear from lots of folks as a success factor or a recommended technique. It's bundling and batching, then blocking the time in the calendar, and knowing that you've got a good prioritization system. So I tend to advise my clients of how to do that, especially when they're struggling with too many things, and help them narrow it, get it put into different categories. Well, cool.
Yep, absolutely.
If you could, so as White Oak is becoming even more a part of the overall cyber advisors suite of services and businesses and things, if you could wave a magic wand over the business, make one thing better, what would that be?
I guess I'm fairly fortunate. Honestly, I think the organization as itself is doing well, and the organization combined with cyber advisors is doing really, really well. I guess if I could wave a magic wand, it would be to continue to allow the two organizations to grow and learn from each other, and continue to support our people and their people, obviously, support all of the people as a large and whole organization, and maintain that focus, in perpetuity. By doing that, focusing on your people, helping those talented professionals to thrive, they are going to feel respected. They are going to know that they have a safe place to come and do their work, to do great things. They're going to accomplish more. Clients are going to see that output. They're going to see that. And it's been a recipe so far that has worked really, really well for us. And I'd wave that wand to make sure that it continues.
Absolutely. Yeah. Lots of good things, lots of good opportunities, it sounds like, for everyone across the board, up and down. So, congratulations, and I hope that continues for you too. Yeah. Do what you need to do to run that forward. Yeah. Last question I've got for you is, what advice would you offer to entrepreneurs who are just starting out or facing challenges in their businesses in the tech sector?
Good question. I've been thinking about this a lot as I've been kind of going through and like seeing what kind of the next steps are for myself. And so looking at this, I personally believe that empathy should be at the core of like every entrepreneur strategy. Putting your people first means fostering that culture where everyone's voice can be heard and their needs understood. That includes, your team, your business partners, and your own personal needs. And for me, that's crucial to building a supportive environment where, again, your people can thrive. That leads to greater education. It leads to greater innovation. And when you practice empathy as a part of your leadership and entrepreneurial style, you're not only building up those around you, but you open opportunities to more diverse ideas and perspectives that can drive your business forward. The second thing that I think is pretty critical is, you need to also maintain balance and avoid burnout. Entrepreneurship is a marathon. There may be times when it's like, okay, I feel like I need to work until 2 a.m., but is that really are those hours going to actually further the business, or are they just going to break you down further? So managing your own energy, staying healthy, physically, mentally, emotionally, are vital to sustaining you through the highs and lows that come with building a business. And the last one that, if possible, I highly recommend is try to start small in a way that you can minimize your risk when you're starting your business. I was very fortunate with White Oak that I was able to start it as, a side opportunity while I had a day job. And so that was fantastic. It gave me the flexibility to learn and to pivot without the pressure of needing immediate profits to thrive. But so if you have an opportunity like that where you can take an idea and test it out as a side project, that ultimately helps to reduce and minimize the stakes of any initial failures or changes that you need to go through to help grow your business.
Yeah. I have a friend over in Tennessee who wrote a book recently, Start Now and Grow Later. Just exactly on that concept of start your business small, minimize the risk, continue the opportunities, grow it out over time. And then continue to think really not just like 5 steps ahead, but think at least 1 step ahead for where to take it next. So you don't just sit in one place, which some businesses fall into the trap of.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, thank you much, Christopher. It's great meeting you, learning more about White Oak and your cyber advisor's journey as well.
No, I appreciate the time and the opportunity.
Yeah, appreciate it as well. To those watching, when you're faced with challenges in your business, consider these tips. Feel free to reach out to me for coaching and training support. As always, I'm Steve Semler, FocalPoint Business Coaching, helping techies be great leaders. Look forward to seeing you in our next episode. Thanks.